This video is going to be short and get right to the point. I'm just going to have a little slideshow. I'll do a little bit of talking. For the most part, about a year and a half ago or so, I guess, I got into 3D printing, and now I've started designing my own models that I print. And in this case, I'm going to be showing you how I went about creating the Lithophane box. It's a lighted box that houses my lithophanes that I've been creating. And lithophanes have been around for a long time. They used to be made out of porcelain. And a lithophane is nothing more than an image that appears whenever you shine light, whether it be a flashlight, a light bulb, a candle, or even the sunlight. When the light comes through it, the image appears. Otherwise, it doesn't look like much. So here's how I went about creating it. And I'm just going to let this slideshow go along. You can see I started with 8133 K&S brass tubing. I cut that into 4 sections or 4 pieces. Those pieces are about 1.125 long. I'm going to use those to make contacts for my battery box that I'm going to be creating, which uses a A23 battery, which is a 12-volt battery. So to make the contacts, I'm going to bend one end into 180 degrees with 2 90s. It's going to be fairly short. You can see the one end it's already bent, and that's actually going to hook onto the top of one side of the battery box. There you can see it hooked on, and it slides through the slot in the bottom, and then you pull on that and stretch it around and bend it back over that tab that's on the side. Here you can see I've got it bent up, but I haven't bent it over the top yet. And once you do that, then you're just going to take your needle nose pliers, in my case I use needle nose pliers, and tighten up the bends, and that's actually going to secure the contact for this side. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Here you can see the contact is in place now, and whenever I solder it up, I solder to the bottom beveled section. So here you can see the box is done, and it's ready to install. And also, if you look inside, you can see there's a plus and a minus. That's actually 3D printed in there, and you can use, I use a silver Sharpie to mark over the plus and the minus so it shows up. And here you can see the A23 battery installed using some tape so that it makes it easy to pull the battery out. Here's a look at all the pieces. Battery box, a switch, battery, the LEDs, which is a 12-inch strip of LEDs, and a little bit of wire. Here's a look at the back and the top, and then here's a look at the box with the lights, LEDs installed, the switch is installed, and the battery box is installed. The battery box is simply CA glued in place. The LEDs are glued in place except for the top. I do not remove the double-sided tape that's on there because I do not want the LED sticking to the top so that the top's easily removed. So here's where you can go to this website. You can find the Lithophane creator. It creates an STL from your image. Also, you might notice I have there the size your image needs to be. So you want to crop your image so that it is exactly that size, because if it's exactly that size, then your lithophane is going to fit my box design. The lithophane is going to slip into the tracks and push all the way down, and then you install the top, and again you do not remove the tape, the covering, the double-sided tape on the LEDs for the top, because you want to be able to remove the top. Once it's done, put the screws in it, and then you can turn the light on and test it. And as you can see, it turned out really well. Here you can see a lithophane being printed. You notice I have the light laying on the print bed, shining through it as it's being printed. So there's a look at the latest 3D project in my lithophane box and how I went about creating it. Now, one of the things about the box is I decided to use that particular size because it fit well, and whenever I create a lithophane, I make sure to resize my image so that whenever it's printed, it actually fits my box. And as long as I stick to the height and width shown in this video, then the lithophane that you create should slide right into the slots in the box. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment or send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you if I can.